Welcome back to the channel. And you already said the title of this video, and yeah, I think it's time we discuss about Phil Foden. I think it's generally time that we have a discussion about this player. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned it already on this channel, but I'm a Manchester City fan, right? I'm a avid watcher of the team. I love the club and everything. I'm a big supporter of the club, right? And I've watched almost every single game so far this season for Manchester City, and I can confidently say that Phil Foden has been our best player this season so far. And it is crazy to say, a lot of people don't agree with me. And there was a video I've done, my very first video so far on this channel. The first video where we did a top 10 rankings video with one of my boys, Prodigy and Keith Rock were involved in that video, right? And obviously, the name of Phil Foden was circulated and became a conversation. And the way they've been looking at Phil Foden and downplaying him, and I feel like I needed to make a video about Phil Foden because genuinely I think he's been the best player for Manchester City this season. And why do I say this? Now, firstly, we need to look at the context of everything, right? At the beginning of the season, right, Manchester City is coming from a treble. We just won the treble. And we're looking at some of our big name players leaving, right? We're looking at Riyad Mahrez leaving. We're having a crucial midfield player in Ilkay Gundogan, one of the most crucial players, one of the players who helped us win that treble, our captain, leaving the team, going to Barcelona. And then obviously at the beginning of the season, the first game of the season, we have flipping Kevin De Bruyne getting injured, and he's been out for half the season. We're having players like Cole Palmer leaving for Chelsea for like 40 million, leaving just out of the blue. We're having so many of these players just leaving, And obviously with Kevin De Bruyne being injured and being probably the player playing in that number 10 role, with him out, we all kind of just looked at Phil Foden. We all looked at this player and being like, Phil Foden, this is your chance. This is your opportunity. This is your time to show that you are a player of world-class talent. You are a player who can essentially make this Manchester City team yours. And I have to say, Phil Foden has made this team his in the absence of Kevin De Bruyne. Now, obviously, my friends, Prodigy and Keith, they were against this idea of Phil Foden being such an amazing player. Some have been doubtful of this and everything like that. But me personally, I've watched so many Manchester City games this season, and as by watching them, I just can't see how you don't think Phil Foden is our best player. Like anything creative that Manchester City do, Phil Foden's at the root of it, right? Now, obviously, I don't want to bring in stats because maybe that's one of the things that are judging or clouding people's judgment of Phil Foden this season, right? Because obviously, if you want to go stats-wise, Phil Foden's probably already has had better seasons, right? But if we want to talk about stats, this season, 31 appearances so far for Manchester City this season, 19 goal contributions. Already that's mental in my own opinion, right? But let's leave the stats alone because that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the impact that he's had on the team, right? I'm looking at every time there's a Manchester City goal. Every single time there's a Manchester City goal, Phil Foden's fingerprints are all over that goal. Whether he's the one who's scoring the goal, whether he's assisting the goal, whether he's the one who's getting the pre-assist, whether he's receiving the ball from probably in the middle of the pitch, doing his half turn and starting the attack, whether he's the one who's starting the counter attacks, maybe he's the one who gets the ball from the left, from the right, from the center, and then driving with the ball, creating something out of nothing, right? That's what he's been doing this season. The impact that Phil Foden has had this season has been unbelievable. And I do not understand how people don't see this. Every single game, Phil Foden gives you a minimum of at least 7 out of 10 every single game. That's the level that he's been performing at every single game this season. And there's certain things that he does on the pitch, the way he's been, maybe not for a full 90 minutes, right? But there are flashes and moments and just times where he dictates the game, right? Where he's able to control the flow of the game, where he dictates the tempo, where sometimes where he's going to ping a pass that really creates something or gives like City a goal scoring opportunity. Like I cannot mention the amount of times that Phil Foden has given Jeremy Doku an unbelievable throw pass, setting him like one on one with the keeper, or the amount of passes that he's given to Julian Alvarez, where really Alvarez really should have finished those opportunities but didn't. But Phil Foden is a brilliant player. And it's crazy to think that this kid who's come into this Manchester City team, right? When he came in, he had to compete with people like Kevin De Bruyne. He had to compete with people like David Silva, Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan, Fernandinho, Rodri. Obviously, he doesn't really play in those positions. But the quality that he's had to deal with, right? Like even on the wings where Pep Guardiola is always playing him, right? You've had players like Leroy Sané, right? You've had players like Riyad Mahrez. You had players like flipping Raheem Sterling. Even Jesus would sometimes even play on those positions, right? You've had so many quality players he's had to compete with. And somehow, some way, Phil Foden always finds a way to play in that Manchester City team. I mean, obviously, Pep Guardiola, we know how Pep cares, right? The way he's always changing and shifting and always just changing up the team. But the number one constant in all of his teams is always Phil Foden, and there's a reason why that is, because of the talent that Phil Foden is, because of the level of a player that Phil Foden is, and the quality that he brings to this Manchester City team, right? I honestly think that there's a reason why Phil Foden is always in the Manchester City team. Maybe he's not starting always in that number 10 role that we expect him, that we are begging for him to play in, but he's always ever present and he's always contributing to the team no matter where he's playing. And not many players can do that. Not many players are like, you know what? Sure, I'm not playing in my position, my preferred position, but you know what, coach? Wherever you're going to put me, I'm going to perform. I'm going to give you something. I'm going to be a creative outlet. And that's what Phil Foden has kind of been for the whole Manchester City career so far. This season, he's been given the opportunity to play in his favorite position, in that 10 role. Yes, maybe he didn't really play there much until I think the Erling Haaland injury happened, right? Obviously, he kind of played like started there anyways in that position once Erling Haaland got injured. But even then, if you watch the games, right? If you watch the games, yes, he kind of starts off in like that left wing position or that right wing position. But if you watch the full 90 minutes, you kind of see him drifting in those midfield positions, kind of like occupying those type of positions. And he's always doing something. He's always contributing. He's always creating. He's always doing something that helps Manchester City go forward. Like, Phil Foden this season has made me look at this Manchester City team and be like, we can survive without Kevin De Bruyne. There's a life without Kevin De Bruyne. I could literally see a life without Kevin De Bruyne this season. Now, don't get me wrong, Kevin De Bruyne is a brilliant player. Like, he is a world-class player. Kevin De Bruyne is the type of player who can give you a moment of brilliance. He can give you a moment that you be like, wow, what the hell was that? That's the type of player that Kevin De Bruyne is, right? And so obviously you can't replace something like that just yet. And that's why Kevin De Bruyne obviously is still the main man for Manchester City, right? But Phil Foden has shown me that, you know what? He can be the big guy. He can be the type of man who's be like, you know what? I'm going to carry this team. I'm going to show everybody that I'm the main man. And the amount of games where Phil Foden has saved Manchester City this season it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I think we look at the Champions League game where, I forgot what team it was, but there was a Champions League game where, obviously I think it was a dead rubber game, but the fact that we just didn't want to lose. Phil Foden, I don't think he started that game. Oh no, he did start, but I think a couple players were not starting, like Julian Alvarez, Haaland, and all of them weren't really playing, really. And then they came on, when I think they came in the second half when we were 2-0 down. In that game, Phil Foden gets 2 assists, scores 1 goal, and then makes it 3-2. Wins us the game, essentially. Looking at the Everton game, we go 2-0 down. What does Phil Foden do in that game? He comes in, he scores 1 goal, kind of more a quality goal, and then he scores that screamer from outside the box and gets an assist, wins us the game. We're looking at even the FA Cup, that Huddersfield game, the way he was performing, the level that he was performing at. I feel like that's what Phil Foden provides to this team this season. That's what he's been providing for this team. And yes, maybe it hasn't been at that level every single game, but he has been such a consistent performer, and everything creative about City this season has been coming through Phil Foden. So I'm tired of this slander on Phil Foden. I'm tired of this agenda that's kind of placed against them, right? Because people be talking about how we don't know what his best position is. Pep was always playing him in different positions, you know. Maybe if he truly was the best player, he should be playing in his position. He's showing you this season that if he's playing in his best position, being that 10, he can perform. He can give you high levels every single game, you know. And I'm just tired of the agenda against him. I'm just tired of the slander, right? And obviously, we're looking at this, and people have always been saying even that maybe Phil Foden should leave Manchester City, right? Maybe he should go to another team that will probably play him in that 10 position, or probably play him where he wants to play. But again, this season he's showing that, you know what? I'm Manchester City bred and born, and I am showing you guys that I am the future for this club. Once Kevin De Bruyne is gone, once he's retired as probably one of the best Premier League midfielders ever, I'm the next guy up. I'm the next guy who's ready to take the reins and make this Manchester City team my own. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I am looking forward to what Phil Foden is going to be able to do. And I really hope that he carries on performing at this level, and he's slightly starting to live up to that world-class potential that we know that he has. So I know a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me on certain points, but if you do, comment down below. Let's have a discussion about it. Let's talk about it, you know what I'm saying? So subscribe to the channel, comment down below, hit that bell for any post notifications, like the video, and yeah, I'm going to leave it right there, but Phil Foden, man. Phil Foden.